Oscilloscope testing the analog mass airflow sensor. Before any testing can be performed, it will be necessary to identify the signal wire. This is the wire that will be backprobed to obtain the waveform pattern. To do this, we will turn to the wiring diagram to analyze the purpose of each wire. Knowing the purpose of each wire can aid in any additional diagnosis if necessary. Looking at the mass airflow sensor on the wiring diagram and tracing the brown wire through the junction block, then following it out pin 17, we find that the PPL wire ends up at the ECM relay. The PPL wire receives power from the fuse 42 via the ECM relay. Back at the mass airflow sensor, the yellow and red wires are both spliced through joint connector F06. Following the red wire from pin 2 to the ECM pin 56, which is labeled GNDA-TA1. This abbreviation is for a ground connection. That leaves the orange wire to be the air intake temperature signal wire, and the gray wire is the mass airflow sensor wire. The gray wire is the one I'm looking for. Backprobe the gray wire on pin 4 with the uScope to measure the analog voltage changes that take place based upon the engine RPM and the airflow through the sensor. Using the backprobe pin and the alligator clip, backprobe the signal wire on the mass airflow meter. To measure voltage changes on a mass airflow sensor, navigate over to the menu, hit OK, go down to Presets, hit OK, go down to User Setups, and then use the left or right arrow buttons to navigate over to the one that says MAF 5 volts. Hold down the OK key until the name turns 100% green. That will load your setup file along with your reference file. Push OK, go down to Presets when you want to remove that reference file, push OK, and go down to Reference Show and use a left or right arrow button to turn that off. Press OK, and now you're all set to measure that value. You will notice that I'm on a single capture, so all I have to do now is rev the engine up. Once the voltage exceeds the trigger threshold, the waveform is captured on the screen.